Yo Brollies, if you're looking for some productivity peripherals for your work from home desk setup, I think I've got something that might pique your interest. A powerful and convenient desktop charging station, a super silent ergonomic wireless mouse, and an ocean-themed compact wireless mechanical keyboard. So we've got the Ugreen Diginest Pro 100 watts desktop charging station with 3 AC outlets, 3 USB-C ports, and 1 USB-A port in a sturdy and compact form factor. We also have the extremely affordable Ugreen MU006 wireless mouse that offers dual wireless connectivity and a quite comfortable ergonomic shape. And last but not the least, we have the Ugreen KU101 wireless mechanical keyboard that features a unique ocean-themed design in a relatively compact form factor, all of which are perfect for a work-from-home environment or an on-the-go productivity setup. The question is, are they decent enough? Well, let's find out. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's start with the compact wireless mechanical keyboard. By the way, I added some timestamps so that you can easily skip through if you'd like. The unboxing experience is probably one of the best I've seen in a while, with a simple flip-out external design, but with a fun and refreshing inner presentation. We even have an island artwork here, which is greatly appreciated. Removing the paper cover reveals the mechanical keyboard itself, protected by a plastic dust cover. We'll take a closer look at this in a moment. Inside the box, we have a bunch of items. We have a warranty guide, the user manual where you can find pretty much all the features and functionalities, a set of alternative keycaps for macOS, a keycap puller, and a non-braided USB-A to USB-C cable. Now, the Ugreen KU101 features a 75% layout with 84 keys to be exact. We have some of the nav cluster keys here, cramped arrow keys here, and full function rows up top, but the layout is non-standard thanks to the longer escape key and delete key. It's not completely impossible to find a set of keycaps for this, but it would be more challenging than usual, and it would be unorthodox to say the least. Other than that, a pretty looking set of pebble-like keycaps. Now, design and construction wise, it looks refreshing with an ocean wave-like design, but feels absolutely plasticky. It doesn't flex much though, and if I have to guess, it probably has a steel plate inside due to its weight, but most of its outer construction is made out of plastic. It weighs around 590 grams, which for its size is pretty hefty. I'd say even though it feels plasticky, it still feels solid enough in terms of overall build quality. Now, looking at the front side, you'll get a bit of an idea about its slim form factor with floating keys design. And flipping it on its side, you'll get a better understanding that while it features a relatively thin profile with thin keycaps, it's not a low-profile keyboard. First, it uses slightly lowered mechanical keyboard switches, but not the usual low-profile switches from Cherry or Gateron. And second, it features a 6-degree angle rather than a completely flat surface. So yeah, definitely not a low-profile keyboard unlike what I initially thought. To be fair, Ugreen didn't claim it to be based on its marketing materials. Nevertheless, it's still relatively low compared to most mechanical keyboards out on the market. Now looking at the backside, we have the USB Type-C port at the center and a better view of the overall height at the back. Turning it all over at the bottom, we have 4 rounded rubber feet, the dedicated power and OS switches here, and the technical detail sticker at the center. Speaking of OS, we also have some subtle LED indicators here for switching between operating systems and for the battery level. In terms of the keycaps, if I have to guess, I feel like it is made out of ABS plastic with UV coating and then laser etched legends, since I can definitely feel the debossed characters here. The thickness is pretty decent at around 1.3 to 1.5 millimeters. It also features a pebble-like shape with rounded corners and edges on the main keys and a bulge shape on some important keys like Enter and Spacebar. As for the switches, it uses a brown switch from a brand that I've never heard before, GTMX. Apparently, it features a sort of mid-profile form factor with a slightly reduced height on the top housing. I would love to tear this switch apart and show you some close-up shots, but unfortunately, this keyboard is not hot swappable. As for the sound and feel, unfortunately, it's probably one of the worst mechanical keyboard switches that I've tried in a while. It offers the same light tactile feedback a typical brown switch provides, but is extremely scratchy. I tried swapping some of the keycaps with different PBT low-profile keycaps, but the feeling is essentially the same. By the way, you cannot use standard profile keycaps with these switches. Now, the stabilizers are okay with a bit of rattle, but since the switches are quite scratchy already, it doesn't really matter. And of course, to no surprise, it sounds noticeably plasticky as well. Don't get me wrong guys, this feedback is coming from a mechanical keyboard enthusiast who is quite sensitive to this kind of small details, but for most regular users, this might not matter much to them, especially for those who are just looking for an office keyboard. Moving on, let's talk about its other features and functionalities. In terms of connectivity, this keyboard features Bluetooth 3.0 and 5.0 in wired mode. You can connect this up to 3 devices via Bluetooth using FN plus 1 to 3 and then the FN plus tilde key for wired mode. You can also use FN in combination with the function rows up top and on the nav cluster keys for their secondary functions. You can also lock the FN key using the escape key to interchange the shortcuts. As for the illumination, we have 15 different lighting effects that you can adjust using FN plus arrow keys, including brightness levels. However, we only have a single white color here instead of the usual RGB. Now, what I appreciate about this keyboard is that NKRO works in all modes, including wireless mode, which means you can press as many keys as you want at the same time without causing any unwanted ghosting, good for fast typers. It is also very easy to switch between devices. By the way, it is worth noting, even though you already connected it via a cable, you still have to press the FN plus tilde key to switch it to wired mode. Overall, a pretty decent compact wireless keyboard if you're not too sensitive when it comes to mechanical keyboard sound and feel. It is currently priced at around 4,000 Philippine pesos. Now let's take a look at the more affordable wireless ergonomic mouse. This one is priced at only around 510 Philippine pesos, so my expectations are not that high. The packaging is pretty simple with an image preview in front and some of its key features around, and at the back we have its specifications. Inside the box we have the massive user manual written in different languages and the wireless mouse itself. At first look and touch, while it is super affordable, it doesn't feel extremely cheap at all. It features a light gray matte finish on top with a Ugreen logo at the rear end, and what I appreciate the most here is that the primary buttons are noticeably silent but with a good amount of tactile feedback. The scroll wheel is also fairly quiet, especially on normal use, but not as quiet as the primary buttons. It doesn't have any unwanted squeaking sounds or any wobble, but while the button itself has a good amount of tactile feedback, the scroll notches is noticeably weak. Now here we have a button that functions primarily as a mode switch between Bluetooth and 2.4 GHz, but doubles as a DPI button when you press and hold it. Looking at the left side, we have a nice groove for a more comfortable experience and a good amount of rubber for a better grip. We also have here the forward and back buttons that are easy to reach, albeit higher than usual. Looking at the back side, as you can tell, this is an ergonomic mouse geared towards right-handed users. And on the right side, we even have an additional groove with more finger support or division depending on your grip style. In front, you will realize that this mouse doesn't have a USB port, which means you cannot use this via wired mode. Well, the dead giveaway is that it didn't come with a cable. Now looking at the bottom, we have 3 mouse gliders, the power switch, and a compartment for the AA battery and the USB dongle. So yeah, it doesn't have a built-in battery. The good thing about that is that you can easily and quickly swap out the battery rather than waiting for it to finish charging. Now the weight will highly vary depending on the weight of the battery you're going to use, and without a battery it weighs around 68.7 grams, and with the battery I used here, it weighs around 82.4 grams. To be honest, it really won't matter much since this is just a productivity mouse and not a gaming mouse, which every bit of weight is critical. Now before we move on, here's a quick sound test so that you can have a good idea of how silent some of the buttons of this mouse are. Now in terms of LED lighting, we only have illumination on the sensor as well as on the mode switch button, which turns blue when on Bluetooth mode and green when on 2.4 GHz mode. If you press and hold it to adjust DPI, it will flash blue multiple times depending on the specific value. Overall, for its price, a pretty decent budget productivity mouse that works as intended, providing a very comfortable experience. And to provide an even better experience, we also have the Ugreen 100 watts Diginest Pro charging station. Similar to the mouse, the packaging is pretty decent with an image preview and key features and specifications around it. Inside the box, we have the quite robust charging brick, a certification statement, and the user manual. I'll give you a couple of seconds to peek at it. At first look and touch, the first thing that strikes me the most is the outstanding build quality. Both the charging station itself and the quite thick and substantially long cable provide enough confidence that this product is built different, giving you the idea that it can handle the maximum 100 watts power delivery. In front, we have 3 USB Type-C ports, 1 USB Type-A port, the power button, and a small LED indicator above it. Again, it feels really solid in terms of build quality. Here up top, we have a Type-A power outlet, and then at the back, we have 2 Type-B power outlets. Honestly, I wish they made all of these outlets more universal to avoid the necessity to add an adapter. On this side, we just have a massive 100 number design, and on the other side, we have the thick cable. Lastly, at the bottom, we have 2 grippy rubber feet and all of the important technical power ratings, which I will also pop on the screen so that you can check it out. This is important so that you can have a better understanding of the overall power distribution between all of these ports so that you can use them accordingly, especially if you use multiple ports at the same time. It is worth noting that you will only get that full 100 watts power output when using a single port, either USB C1 or C2, while both the C3 and Type-A ports are for lower power devices. I also appreciate the 45-degree angle cable on the plug and its relatively low profile design. Overall, you can connect multiple devices here but not exceed a total of 1,875 watts load. By the way, Ugreen also sent a few of their cables for us to fully take advantage of the desktop charging station. We have a USB-C to Lightning cable, a USB-C to USB-C cable, and a USB-A to USB-C cable. All are braided with robust plugs and are made out of high-quality materials. Full disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video, but I've always been a fan of Ugreen, and most of my cables here, including my HDMI, DisplayPort, and even my Ethernet ports, are all from Ugreen, which I purchased with my own money. Not only that, but I also have 2 GAN chargers, one 65 watts and one 100 watts with a bunch of different Ugreen cables in it, and I also have an M.2 SSD enclosure, some USB hubs, and a lot more. So yeah, definitely a Ugreen fan right here. With that said, I'm still going to provide you with my honest thoughts about the 3 main products that we've tackled in this video. So to conclude, the 100 watts Diginest Pro desktop charging station is probably my favorite amongst this bunch, how simple it may seem. Having a reliable and flexible charging station within my reach that is also aesthetically pleasing and will easily fit any desk setup is definitely a plus. The wireless ergonomic mouse comes in second. Granted, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles like tri-mode connectivity and software support, but for its price, considering what it can offer to the table, it's worth considering for a decent budget productivity mouse. Lastly, we have the compact wireless mechanical keyboard. To be honest, if you're a mechanical keyboard enthusiast and are sensitive to the sound and feel of a keyboard, this is not for you. The switches are quite scratchy and it doesn't offer any sort of flexibility when it comes to further customization. It also doesn't have any software support. However, if you're just a regular user and you really like the quite unique island theme it has going for, then by all means, you can still consider this keyboard. Because other than the cons that I've already mentioned, it is still a fully functioning dual-mode compact wireless keyboard that does the job when it comes to its intended purpose. With that said, Ugreen can take this as an opportunity to improve its keyboard if they plan to take more slices on the mechanical keyboard market space. And there you have it guys, thank you for watching. Thanks to Ugreen for sending this in. You can get this using the links below, and you may find some promos and discount vouchers if they will provide me with one. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you appreciate this video, and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're awesome.